Assalamualaikum. My name is Aainaa Idayu. I'm taking Bachelor of Accounting in the Arabic High Community. So this presentation is one of the for the uh, assessment for my subject, Accounting Theory and Practice. So I will present about the public interest theory. It is one of the theory that practice in the accounting field. So um, as a group, the public interest theory is assumptions the economic market are very fragile and have potential to operate inefficiently and they focus more on the society as a whole. This requires the government intervention to direct and monitor the economic market. Example, the government regulate the bank to make them work in the social interest. The bank be able to serve the social interest when the resources are allocated efficiently and in the social interest. So the public interest theory is contrast with the public choice theories because the public choice theory is prepared when the public demand and the efficient allocations of the resources. Government are willing and capable of the correcting this market failure through the regulations. Regulations can improve the allocation by facilitating, maintaining, and imitating the market operations. The extent of the goods and the production factors in the market assumptions, the definition, allocations, and assertions of the individual property rights and freedom to the contract. So the public interest theory is a part of the welfare economy and emphasizes the regulations should maximize the social welfare and that regulations the result of the cost or benefit analysis done to determine if the cost to improve the operation of the market outweighs the amount of the increased social welfare. So let's look for the effective market which is can lead to the market failure in economic in monopolies environments they set their own price without considering other which is through these regulations or disciplinary governments control price so that nature of monopolies do not overcharge people to safety standard to prevent the accidents such as a fire and mass poisonings regulating job to counter the employer monopoly power of the employer, regulate security insurance so that the investors are not cheated and so on. So in the next in oligopoly market, which is it lead to the ineffective market when the customer have limited choice of items that they want to buy, which is through this theory, firm will provide such as goods and service and often grant license and the franchise to prevent the competition to the regulations. And next is barrier to into the market contract patents and license make entry difficult. So through this theory and guideline for the guideline for the government, they will set the general guidelines to ensure the easy participants and they also provide the fund incentive for the brand to encourage the people to start the business. So, according to the economic theory, an effective market is one of these asset price do not accurately reflect its true value which may occur for the several reasons. Efficiency often leads to the dark rates losses. In reality, most markets do display some level of efficiency and in the extreme case an inefficient market can be an example of the market failure. So next is the criticisms of the public industries. This is the first one we look that market and private orderings can take care of the most market failures without any government interventions at all, let alone let alone regulations, which is this really fail to recognize the market competitions and the private ordering to address many of the illegal problems. Competitions for the labor itself ensures that the employer provide safety and good working conditions for the employees. If the employer fails to do so, his competition will offer the more efficient package and thereby attract better workers at a low world wages. Next is a market are not worked perfectly, which is the private litigations can address conflict market participants might have. So, employer can offer the worker employment contract that specific what happened in the event of the accident. Security insurance can voluntarily disclose information to potential 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 investor and guarantee its accuracy. As long as the court enforces this contract, equilibrium outcomes are efficient. Even when there are no contract efficient audications of the court restore efficiency to the appropriate tort rule. Next is these regulations can make it worse for the government regulations, incompetence corrupts and the captures, which this regulation related to the kind and the competence of the government consists of the two suggestions. For the first is the political process of the regulations is typically captured by the industry. Regulations not only fails to counter monopoly pricing. Second is in certain cases under the influence of the organized consumer groups, regulators try to promote social welfare. They are incompetent and rarely successful. Plus, the government regulation is minimal at the best. Okay, next is weaknesses of the public industry in the regulations, financial accounting practice. We have here is three. For the first one is bureaucratic ineptitude, which is the regulatory agency will often become the victim in ineptitude ineptitude through inertia and disinterest for the regulator staff, but attribute bureaucratic failure not so much to the management incompetence as to the inflexible and inappropriate constraints of the political system within the bureaucrats have to operate. Next is lack of the skill and the resources by the regulating agency, which is the functions of the regulator agency breaks down because of the lack of adequate financial and staff resources, where the regulator agency is under-resourced in the term of the fund staffing and appetite to the effectively perform its supervisors and regulatory responsibility. Lastly is complexity of the technical issue, which refer to the regulator agency might fail to protect the public interest in that the subject matter being regulated in technically too complex. It is particular in the life insurance industry, where the insurance contracts are frequently of the sophisticated and complex technical nature. For the last is we For the rest, we look for the goals of the public interest by the IFRS. For the first is transparency, which is it enhances the international comparability and quality of the financial information, enables the investors and other market participants to make informed economic decisions. Next is accountability, which is referring to the reducing the information gap between the provider of the capital and the people to whom they have entrusted their money. Our standard provide information and its need to hold the management to account is a source of the globally comparable information. IFRS is also vitally important to regulators around the world. Lastly is efficiency, which is helping the investor to identify the opportunity risks across the world, thus improving the capital allocations. For the businesses, the use of the single trusted accounting language lower the cost of capital and reduce international reporting costs, which is these three interrelated objectives. The goal of strengthening objective accountability is especially worth noting. In the modern capital market, the majority of the economic factors, publicly listed company, bank, insurance company, hedge funds, and the asset manager are working with the other people's money. So that's all from me about the public interest theory. Thank you.